Is this the dagger?
G'day guys, JB here. So we're through the middle rounds of the 2024 NBA playoffs. Of course, we had our review for the first round of the postseason, and with some holidays and leave for me falling between rounds 2 and 3, it wasn't practical for me to provide a wrap of round 2. By the time we add in the relevant series, it certainly gave me a little bit more to chat about by the time round 3 was finished. So it makes all the sense in the world to do a bit of a recap of both and do a small prediction heading into the NBA Finals. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get back to the second round and the third round, as they were, of the 2024 NBA playoffs, of course, starting in the East, which is exactly where we saw our good friends there. The Celtics, who advanced to the conference finals by defeating the Cavs, getting the series done there. Jaylen Brown, the standout player, 23.4 points, 6.2 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 0.4 steals, and 0.4 blocks. More efficient shooting splits for him as well. 59.2 from the field, 42.9 from deep, and 75% from the free throw line. Managed to get the job done pretty convincingly there over Cleveland, only losing one game in that series, extending their playoff record to 8-2. Of course, plenty of questions and concerns around the Celtics still, having seen them perform against an injured team. Were they going to measure up? Was their path to the conference finals a little too easy? You know, how would they go against a healthy side? Cleveland, you know, they managed to sack Coach Bickerstaff straight out after that. I don't know whether that's necessarily the answer, considering the team has proven that they can perform when healthy. They particularly took another step. It's kind of weird considering they made the second round and essentially, you know, underperformed when you want to consider that they're just exactly the way they played with injuries and lineups and things of that nature. But Jaylen Brown, really, really big in that playoff series there, heading towards the conference finals. Of course, in the second round as well, over in the East, Pacers and Knicks went 7 games. Well, they realistically went 6 games. Game 7 a blowout. Again, injury still a concern there. Halliburton was the best player for the Pacers though. 21.3 points, 4.3 rebounds, 7 assists, 1.7 steals, and 0.9 blocks. 53.8 from the field, 43.9 from deep, and 80% from the free throw line. And really set the tone early in Game 7, really put the pressure on, really started moving the ball, really started scoring the ball, and all but sealed that one there. An injury to Jalen Brunson certainly proved to be a big factor in that game, and of course the Knicks weren't necessarily at 100% either. But you can only beat what's in front of you. It did take 7 games. They did get it done in the Garden and moved on to the conference finals. For New York, you do have to feel that breakout season there of Brunson, a real factor for them. Hey, what would have happened with a Julius Randle if he'd have stayed in that squad? How healthy would that team have been? You do have to factor in those considerations. Do they get a free agent? Do they get just another piece that's going to be complementary to Randle and Brunson, particularly if Randle can stay healthy? Where do the Knicks sit right there? But of course, it was a pretty easy sort of equation there moving forward, being the Pacers and the Celtics in the conference finals. Of course, over in the West, as it was looked at, it was really interesting stuff there, where Dallas managed to get the job done, and they got the win in their game and their series over the Thunder in 6. Their best player was Luka Doncic in that one, getting it done, as I mentioned. 24.7 points, 10.5 rebounds, 8.7 assists, 1.8 steals, 0.5 blocks. Now, in the series, the efficiency sort of started to not wane a little bit, but certainly improved a little bit more, everything considered. 44.7 from the field. Field goal percentage was up. 39.1 from deep, so nice and consistent there. And 73.7 from the free throw line. Took down Gilgeous-Alexander and the number 1 seed Thunder, really moving on to the conference finals. And it was a real interesting series. From a Dallas standpoint, hey, you got the job done. You're coming up trumps at the right time. Really started to perform there at the end of the postseason. At the end of the regular season. And their postseason performances essentially reflective of just how they were playing there, and again, just hitting their straps at the right time. For the Thunder, I did think they petered out towards the end of the regular season. Got it done the first round, but yeah, some of the second round decisions there, not ideal. Again, this is a Thunder side that no one paid any attention to last year. Saw them as a playing tournament and saw them as climbing up the ranks. And I don't think they're going to be in a bad position. But, of course, the Mavs moved on to the conference finals, where, of course, they took on the Timberwolves, who got the job done in 7 games. And really, that Game 7 was right in the balance, right until probably the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter there in Game 7, where Minnesota essentially just had an answer for every question, and every question they retorted with. Denver, well, they didn't do the study. They weren't ready for the homework. So Anthony Edwards, a massive series there, and really starting to have that star shine and shoot bright and really make some noise. 27.7 points, 5.1 rebounds, 5.7 assists, 1.6 steals, and 0.6 blocks a game. Shot 50% from the field, 37.3 from deep, 84.6 from the free throw line. Of course, there was plenty of conversation going around in this series. I honestly think the downfall for Denver was Jamal Murray. Jokic didn't have a great Game 7. Numbers, they sort of outlined the fact that he had a good box score of a game, but there were just some shots. There were some moments where he just didn't quite get it done where he needed to and had done in the past. Jamal Murray seemed to find every excuse in the book to not allow Anthony Edwards to be the man. And I think sometimes when you are defeated like that, you do just need to, put your hand up and say, hey, yeah, I was outplayed, got done by the better guy. Rudy Gobert copped a fair bit of criticism, but funnily enough, the guy who was pretty much the reason for their win was Rudy Gobert. And I'd be really shocked for anyone that watched that game that wouldn't agree with that, unless your name is Draymond Green. So that was a really interesting second round of the playoffs, and of course moving into the conference finals, well, we didn't quite know exactly what was going to happen, and realistically, both series turned into an anti-climax. The Celtics swept the Pacers in a series where the Pacers had at least 3 opportunities realistically with a lead. You could probably say they should have had the series at 2-2 and moved into a Game 5. But your Eastern Conference Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown, 29.8 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals and 0.8 blocks. Yes, there were some big games there by Jason Tatum, but you've only got to look at who set the tone for that series, who delivered when they needed to in that series. It was Jaylen Brown, and he had a really consistent regular season. Should have been in the All-NBA conversation. I think it's ridiculous that he wasn't, and I think people need their heads read, personally, if you're going to be judging on this sort of stuff. It's not hard to watch a Boston game. They're one of the most popular teams in the league. It's not hard to see who the best players are, and if you're still stuck on the fact that you were worried about a big 3 or you were worried about a team in Los Angeles without worrying about Jaylen Brown, again, I think you need your head read. Jaylen Brown, one of the best 15 players in the league. And again, that tandem there in the regular season with Tatum certainly has that case as the best 1-2 punch in the league for the last 2-3 seasons. And they're starting to show that once again as they head towards yet another NBA Finals. 6 conference finals in 8 years, 2 NBA Finals in 3 years. This has been a tandem that's been together for a while, and they understand just how complementary they are. And it's amusing, considering that a tandem like this that's so young for so long that stays together, you rarely see it. So full credit to Boston for maintaining it. 51.7 from the field, 37% from deep, 65.5 from the free throw line. Was big in Game 1 and 2. Jason Tatum had some really nice series, and you've got guys like Derek White and guys like Drew Holiday really proving key. You've got to remember, Boston 12-2 through 14 games. Boston looking to become just the 12th or 13th team in league history to go at least 12-2 through the first 3 rounds to secure a title. Indiana certainly had some injury concerns there as well, there's no doubt about it. And a lot of people are going to ask the question, but at the end of the day, Boston have been the number 1 team in the East pretty much all season. Best record in the league by at least 7 games. As I said, led the East the whole time. Yep, you're talking about it being an easy path, but when you're the number 1 seed by that much, it should be, relatively easy by comparison. We'll see how their finals match up there. But of course, they will be taking on Dallas, who after Minnesota went 7 games with Denver, and it looked like, geez, it was Minnesota's to lose. Well, by God, it was Minnesota's to lose, and they lost it, and they lost it badly. They went down 4-1. Luka Doncic, massive closeout game, was really consistent throughout the series. His best playoff series for me so far this year, heading into his first NBA Finals and looking to cap off a really nice start to his career. 32.4 points, 9.6 rebounds, 8.2 assists, 2.2 steals, and 0.4 blocks. He currently leads the entire playoffs in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. That's massive right now for Luka Doncic. 47.3 from the field, 43.4 from deep, 84.6 from the free throw line. He had no issues walking into Minnesota's venue, being the hero at home, being the villain on the road, telling the home crowd how good are we, telling the away crowd how bad they were, and just getting the job done. Really put Dallas's head high and really put the tail between the Timberwolves' legs. And of course the criticisms were lauded straight away onto Minnesota. Karl Anthony Towns didn't play as a big. Yep, he had a bad series. Anthony Edwards, geez, he's not really Michael Jordan. Nope, the only people that were saying that were people that saw him had a good game though. Geez, Rudy Gobert's useless. Well, I don't know an all-time great big defender like Rudy Gobert who was put on an island with a smaller guard and not dominated. So let's take that into perspective. Really nice story there as well for Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving's been a guy who's been proven and crucial to any team's success for championships moving forward. He was huge for Cleveland. People don't give him enough credit in Cleveland, that's why he left. He went to Boston. Yes, he got injured. Young core gets the job done. You know, he was the presence around there, and he's good friends with Tatum and Brown. And I don't think that they're going to sit there and say that, hey, I wish we didn't have that learning tree with Kyrie Irving. Yep, had his moments in Brooklyn, there's no doubt about it. And there were a lot of people who wanted to know how this conversation was going to work in Dallas. But here's one thing that I will give him. He's proven to be the clutch performer that Dallas need and the extra kick in the backside that Luka need. It's really simple stuff. There's some really nice pieces there in Dallas, and they deserve to win that one there. Of course, we move over. The NBA Finals coming up. Who will win? How much will they win by? For me, I'm going Boston in 6. I think when you look at the fact that there's 2 leading tandems there, they are great leading tandems. It's going to come down to your second run of players there. Okay, I'm not expecting Kristaps Porzingis to have a massive effect in this series. If he does come back, does he come off the bench? I don't know. But honestly, the 2 guys that will make and break this series for me are going to be Drew Holiday and Derek White. At the end of the day, your stars are going to be stars. And your outliers are going to be your outliers. And such as the outliers with Tatum, Brown, Luka and Kyrie, that I think there's a level of cancellation. And it's going to come down to your second string players. I think it comes down to how does Derek White play? How does Drew Holiday play? You know, on the other side of things for Dallas, you know, how's Lively going to work? How's Cleaver going to work? Do you get minutes out of Exum, who's been very limited? What do you get out of Josh Green? What do you get out of PJ Washington? What do you get out of Daniel Gafford? You know, there's a lot of factors in this series right now. You know, many are calling it the Grant Williams Cup. I think that's quite insulting. Boston looking to be the first team to 18 NBA titles. Dallas looking to get their second NBA title of all time, their 3rd trip to the finals. It will be a massive matchup there. There's no doubt about it. Anyway, guys, that's my brief summary of the playoffs so far for the 23-24 NBA season. I'll be looking to get game-by-game reviews for the NBA Finals, and when that one wraps up after the end of the season, I'll be looking to get some different historical clips up as well, so keep your eyes and ears peeled. Game-by-game recaps of the Finals coming up throughout the series. Anyway, guys, that's been me. I'm out.